My guest today is a self-described creative operations unicorn, which I love. He's built his career around turning complex ideas into clear, high-impact action with a blend of marketing expertise and strong project management, which again, I feel like we're going to have so much to speak about in that arena. He's known for pushing past roadblocks, improving systems, and just really getting things done. So today we're going to talk about how he connects the creative and the operational worlds, what it means to be both a builder and a catalyst, and the mindset that it takes to build these big ideas and take them all the way to the finish line. So please welcome my guest, Alvin Chingcuanco.
Hi, Emmy. Thank you so much for that very descriptive introduction. Really, really appreciate it.
Listen, you gave me lots to run with, I have to say. So I found Alvin in the depths of LinkedIn. I don't even know how you came across, but I saw the way you described your job title was Creative Operations Unicorn. I was like, I need to know this person. That's the best job title I've seen on here.
Well, it's actually interesting because I was playing around with LinkedIn, like trying to get a little bit more people to notice, like see what I'm doing. I'm good with creating LinkedIn presence for my company, but not for myself. Like
Yeah.
I can market anything on social media. I can do all of that, but not for myself. Typical Asian, we grew up. We don't really talk about ourselves so much. So I'm learning getting to that position as well.
It is so weird. I mean, this is a conversation that I have with people all the time because a lot of what I do in my job as well is sell other people and their businesses and totally excel at that. But again, to your point, selling myself is so weird. I don't even like know how to tell people what I do half the time. I'm like, oh, this and that.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, oh, I do a little bit of this, a little, but it's like, how do you kind of catch everything into one bucket, right? So like, I think
yeah.
that the term unicorn came up and was like, yeah, that kind of sums it up. Like you're a magical creature, you do everything, you get everything done, and people don't really know that you're there. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, 100. Okay. So I always start out these conversations by asking people to explain what they do in their own words. And I feel like this is a great segue into that. So can you explain in your current role what you do?
So in my current role, I am the project manager for partnerships. And what that entails really is definitely making sure that everything about the partnership goes to schedule because we have really tight deadlines. And growing into that role also is the understanding of what systems, what communication styles the client has and how it merges with ours. So Pantone itself on social media has like a huge Instagram presence. We're growing our LinkedIn presence as well. There's a certain style that people expect. Like you can't just say, "Hey, we partnered with Pantone," and it looks like an ad, and we can't. We tell people like it's not engaging. That's what I do. Like I come up with some campaigns. So from beginning to end. So we talk to the clients first, find out what their goals are, what they want to do in terms of the partnership. Is it like defining a color or all the way from defining a color to a full palette, developing all of those standards for them and creating a whole campaign connected to us for that. There's also like social media postings and the immersive web experience for the clients. We build all of that. There's like back behind the scenes films. And once all of that is done, there's the performance reporting that has to be done. There's documentation. And then there certain times there will be articles written about the partnership, which I kind of have to lead as well because we operate as such a lean team. So
Yeah. No, I
that
think that that's
summarizes pretty
something
much.
that's, I mean, right. Like, again, like we're talking such a comprehensive thing. I think, kind of like to your point at the end, I don't think that people always necessarily equate PR with marketing, but they're so hand in hand. And same thing with sales, with the KPIs and like the metrics and everything. It all has to work together.
Agreed. And that's what I've always pushed for. You can't rely on one piece of communication to get your message out there. It has to be unified. It has to be strategic. You have to think of it from a 10,000-foot view to the ultimate minute little detail and have to get everything all connected to each other. Like, and then that becomes more challenging, particularly if you have a particular brand and you're trying to connect it with another brand. So
My gosh,
imagine
yeah.
imagine something as sweet and fantastical as Wicked, and you kind of have to. And this is not real, but you have to connect it to hardcore programming technology. Like, how do you find the middle ground? How do you make it enticing for both audiences?
Yeah, the storytelling behind that. And I think, again, to your point, it sounds like you do a lot of like almost translating. So you're taking, here are the ideas from the client, and then you know what your core brand is at Pantone, and having to translate their ideas into something that makes sense from a brand perspective for you as well. That's a huge feat
Exactly.
within itself.
Yes, yes. But it's fun. I would not like this is kind of like my dream job when you think about it. I've been playing around with Pantone guides since I was a kid,
Oh my gosh, yes.
right? Like the fan guides, the different colors, and you didn't even know what it was for. And then you grow up and you work with photographers and digital artists, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, we need this. This is important. And then I learned about Pantone while I was like going through my career journey. I'm like, yeah, this is my dream company for now.
My gosh, I love that. It's so much fun to speak to people too that are kind of like living in that, and like you have the wherewithal to know that like these are like the good days, and really soak up that experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic. Okay, so kind of speaking about your career journey, can you talk to me a little bit more about the journey that has led to, your particular style, your niche, like where you're at right now?
Uh, do we have 10 days?
I know. I was gonna say because I know that you're super multifaceted. When I ran through, I think I saw that you were a business with accounting major, which is like very similar to my background. But then we both work in creative, so I know there's a lot again that's gonna
Yeah.
encompass this.
Yeah. So like I guess it started like as a kid, I was very process oriented and I'm very good at putting things together, making sure that things happen the way they're supposed to happen. But I also had a passion for art, performance. I have stage fright, but I like watching performances. So when I was pursuing my undergrad, I was having to juggle different issues. Like, I love this course, but it's too much math. I love this, but it's too much science. So what do I do? I was very fortunate that my university, it's called Ateneo de Manila. So it's like supposed to be the number one university in the Philippines. And they
Ooh,
had a degree called interdisciplinary studies where you merge two of your passion courses and come up with your own. Like it was so much fun because they were developing people who were trailblazers. That's the correct word for it. I
yeah.
remember they were developing one. She had a passion for writing. So she was taking English literature, but she also had passion for biology. So they were developing her to be an author for biology text that would engage people. So it's something like that. And I was fortunate enough to be able to marry the two things that I like, which is business and communication arts, with a minor in Chinese studies. I don't know how that fits in, but it kind of just,
I think that no, I mean speaking like Chinese or Mandarin or anything is always good for business because
yeah,
it's just a necessity.
it is. Yeah, it started from there. I worked as a visualizer copywriter at the beginning of my career. And then a friend of mine said, hey, I'm starting a PR agency. Let's do like a mom and pop type PR agency. And I said, why not? And then after a year or so of doing that and event management added to that as well, I was like, oh, maybe let me see what it's like to be working at a bigger agency. So I worked at the biggest PR agency in the Philippines, and my my then boss put me in as part of his creative think tank group because he loved the ideas that I was throwing out there. And then somehow I met some people, made connections. I became in-house corporate communications for an insurance company. So I was like, okay, I that's great experience. And then from there, my friends and I built our own mom and pop agency, like a different set of friends. And I had been running that boutique PR events agency for over 10 years in the Philippines. And then I was like, I need more of a challenge. Let's see if I can take my MBA somewhere else, uproot myself, go to some place where I barely know anyone, and then just blaze my way through a whole path, which I did. And I got to work in so many different things. So I did event management, I did teaching, did operations, project management. At some point, I was almost like a chief of staff without the title because I was running the whole, like, I think 5 businesses all at the same time.
Oh my
And then,
gosh.
yeah, and then I did some IT project management and eventually ended up here. So it's a combination of every single thing, which I love. I love every single bit of experience because you learn from every single thing that you go through. And no matter how good or bad the experience is, it adds to your life and it adds to the value that you provide to people.
Yeah, those experiences, like you're saying, like good or bad, everything is always a learning moment when you have that openness and again, like that wherewithal. So it feels like one of the big things that sticks out to me in your story is just the constantly saying yes and like pushing yourself. Has that always just been something that's within you?
Yes, definitely. I think I like learning from people, and I've read a lot of books. I've listened to a lot of people talk about certain things, and I pick whatever fits the best. If I feel that someone is saying something that resonates, then I will do it. One thing that I learned is like, just say yes. You don't be afraid of what it is. If you have an understanding of what it is, just pursue it. And you grow as you go down that path that you've chosen. And sometimes the path isn't what you chose, it's something that you're directed to, and then you end up enjoying it.
I think that for me, especially the last 5 years or so, I think I've always been open to saying yes, but I've been a little bit boxed in by trying to like kind of tempt fate in the universe and being very stringent and this is how I want things to go. And I've really let go of that and just kind of been at the mercy of the universe and on the road for this journey. And I can't tell you how many doors and experiences have opened up because of that.
Agreed, agreed. And that's something that a friend of mine also, like, not just a friend, a couple of friends of mine were talking about, which was imposter syndrome. And it is reality. Like, it's something that you can really feel and experience, and it's all about changing your mindset. I have always thought of myself as someone who does not want to be defined by rules, so I just keep accepting challenges. I will get the imposter syndrome every so often, but I just reframe it and basically ask myself, like, instead of thinking of it as you're pretending to be someone else, you think of it as I'm growing into that role and I'm learning all the things I need to learn. I already have why did they hire me to begin with? Because they knew I had
Exactly.
these skills. Why did they hire my agency? Why did they hire my company to do this? Because they believe in what I do and I represent that. And it kind of
Yeah.
shifts a little bit. You have to give yourself some grace as well to feel whatever you're feeling and then
Yes.
just keep building from there. Like every day is a different experience, and you just have to keep reminding yourself every day that you're doing good. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and you wouldn't be there if people didn't believe in you in the first place.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a beautiful sentiment and definitely something to kind of tuck in the back of my head.
Yeah, it's hard, but
I was
you
gonna
gotta
say
keep.
I
Yeah,
have those days for sure, but no, I think especially like for me, it's I don't know what I thought like because I've been put into some really fantastic big rooms, seats at tables that I never thought I would have the chance to, especially the past like year and a half. And you get to these places, and I think like in my head, I have this certain notion of, oh, these people are going to be like this. And then you get there and they're just people. It's like, you know what I mean? So I think that that was another really big realization for me as well.
I think to your point, I think I remember this was probably a long time ago, but someone said like these people put their pants on one leg at a time the same way as you do. They there's a crasser version of that. Like they
Right.
go do number two the same as you do. So It's like
Yeah.
it's everyone's just human. Like they just got to where they were at because they had the opportunity and they pursued it.
Hmm.
So that's your cue to take that opportunity and pursue it as well.
All right, that's the soundbite right there. That one's for sure getting clipped. That's such a fantastic point. I really like the way you spoke that.
Thank you.
Okay, so as we're kind of talking through the high points and pursuing things and saying yes, on the flip side, what do you find that you struggle with most as a creative professional?
The challenge is to extract the information from your clients, like getting a very descriptive brief. I think the biggest challenge is like they want something, they tell you something else, and they want to see something else. So it's a challenge which I think as a project manager, I was able to learn how to kind of circumnavigate. So it's always about asking questions. It doesn't matter if you keep asking questions and if you get perceived as someone who's not perceiving anything correctly, it's always safer to ask questions to clarify rather than make assumptions.
Yeah.
And that to me is the strongest advice I can give anyone about managing all of this. You don't know what you don't know. So it's always good to say, hey, let me just clarify that this is what you want. This is where we want to go. And then give them a perspective. Like, from my perspective, I think that it could go a certain way. So you can kind of drive them to the right direction. But the challenge is really understanding what they want to achieve, what they want to accomplish, and putting it down on paper so that everyone is on the same page. Because what I say now could be misinterpreted, and the other person could be hearing and perceiving something different depending on what day they're in, what they're going through that day.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things altogether, but definitely getting the communication right is the biggest challenge, and developing systems and checks and balance to make sure that you're all aligned to what you're talking about, that
Hmm.
is key. And having AI these days to record, transcribe, and help you kind of simplify everything helps out so much after, because you can't do meeting notes for maybe like 5-10 meetings a day and then you have the post meeting summary. You can't do that. It's not realistic. It used to take me hours to kind of figure. So before AI was prevalent, before the recording technology was prevalent, I love to type because it makes me focus on what's being discussed. I pretty much transcribe whatever we're talking about,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it just helps me focus more on the conversation topics. The challenge there is having to break that down, and it took me hours to break down whatever I transcribed, because an hour long meeting means 2 hours of kind of going through the notes and simplifying. So
Yeah.
I use the tools that you have available as well. I think that is golden advice right there. Don't rely on those tools as a crutch, but rather use them as a tool to speed things up and to scale up.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. As you were speaking through kind of like your process, I think for me, one of the big things that's been on my mind in terms of AI and just all the conversations that I've heard around this is, people are obviously scared about AI taking over their jobs. I think, though, that what you're explaining is one of the biggest pitfalls that I currently see with the learning curve for AI is that people at this point don't fully understand how to create really effective prompts. So, exactly what you're doing, you're able to utilize AI as a tool, but you pick out these things. You're doing things that AI is not going to be able to read through. So, like those social and emotional cues, the all of the value that you bring from doing this for so many years. So, knowing when somebody says this, it really means this. And then the brand understandings from both sides. It's just we're not at that level with AI yet. And so, I think it's fascinating to see how you're integrating that, but still using the human element.
100%, because I've learned that AI is not smart at all. It's as smart as how you feed it. So to your point, it's the prompts that we give AI. It's also dependent on where they're taking the information from. And as we know, the World Wide Web is filled with so much information, and a lot of it is not true.
Yeah.
So you always have to challenge what AI churns out. Like, okay, yes, it's helpful, but you always have to look at what it churns out and do a lot of thinking and absorbing and figuring out. Like, do your own research as well. It doesn't, it's helpful to have AI, but you can't rely on it to do your research for you, because whatever I've seen it happen where you click on the, I always, when I have AI write something, I always prompt it to give me the sources. And it's always a link to a source somewhere. So I always double check the sources, and I'm like, no, this is not correct. This is from this website that is not reliable. So you have to validate all your sources as well for AI to work the best for you, and challenge it. Say, this piece of information is not factual. Validate
Yeah.
that information. Like, always push for that, because you can't take AI for just simply for what it turns out.
No, absolutely. I think again, like kind of to your point about it basically scrapes the web. And so now that we're getting into this like post AI era, how much of what is on the web is AI? And so I'm really interested to see how that kind of culminates as well as we continue to fill the internet with, AI slop as we call it. Like
Yeah.
what does that look like?
Yeah, and it's scary. Some of the videos that are coming out these days are very realistic, and some of the content that's coming out looks very realistic. But when you look closely, and it's not easy,
Right.
when you see videos on the web, it's always a little grainy, and it's harder to see the details. But if you have to train yourself as well to be very mindful of that information. Like, as we mentioned, we need to validate that information no matter what it gets churned out, what AI delivers. Always challenge it, always vet the information, and always make sure that you are representing the correct factual information, because at the end of the day, you can't put it on AI. It falls back on you as a creative and project management professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you for that little AI tangent. We checked that box off, right? We would get
Yeah.
investments. We brought up AI. Okay, so another thing that I'm really fascinated by that I feel like I have worked a lot within this realm, but also again, like really jumped out to me when I looked at you like on paper was that blend of logic and creativity. So, can you talk about how you balance those kind of two sides of your brain in this particular job?
I think every person will have one side of the brain that's more creative and the other side that's more logical. And you have to build to it. Admittedly, I am not the most creative person out there. I am good. I've learned that even as when I was taking programming, I was not a programmer from scratch. I will always take influences from different people. I was much better at dismantling a program and rebuilding it back up, because I already understood it, rather than trying to build something from the ground up. I could never do that. That was my Waterloo. And understanding your weakness and building on it, and making sure that that applies to everything in your life is very helpful to that. So I'm a more of a logical process person. And what I do is I do a little bit of research. I always try to familiarize myself with what's latest in design, what is the latest in creative things. For now, like in my new role, I have to kind of be more aware of the different ways people use their campaigns and activations. What are the best ways to think of a campaign for the client? So I have to think of those things and keep those. It always helps that you have the right sources of information. So it depends on what you're looking for. But definitely trying to find that balance is a little bit challenging, but it helps to start from the basics. Like, what are your strengths? Understand your strengths and where you need to build on, and kind of merge that in together. But definitely, strongest advice, put everything down on paper.
I love that. I do think that for me personally, there's nothing that gets it into my mind or even like out into the world more than writing with a pen and paper. Like I have stacks and stacks of notebooks that just jot down the notes. So I love that. Okay, so as we kind of talk about the logic and creative portion, it's curious to me that you don't qualify yourself as a super creative person because I know that you've had your hand in some really wonderfully creative projects. And we talked a little bit at the beginning before we hopped on camera about one of those, but I want to give you the floor to walk us through this. Can you explain to me your favorite project that you've been a part of?
I have a few that I am proud of, especially the past couple of Colors of the Year launches. But I think one of the most global things, and for me was most exciting, was the Tiffany and Company Foundation when they launched Ocean Conservancy and they relaunched Tiffany Blue. It was a crazy experience for me to see something that I created, which was the Pantone chip for Tiffany Blue, being
Tap it.
featured.
I have goosebumps.
Seeing it on a Times Square billboard and then seeing it on a global campaign, being picked up by news outlets all around the world. And I can't tell people that I did that, but yes, I did that. That's me. And no matter how simple it is, because everything that is brand related to Pantone pretty much courses through me, has been coursing through me for the past couple years. And I've been the brand guardian for Pantone. And having your work recognized, although not as directly, but recognized like, hey, this looks great, this is amazing. Plus, it's something that is good for the environment. It's conservation for the oceans, which I strongly feel for. Without the oceans, we will not be here. So
Yeah.
that to me is one of the things that I'm most proud of. But from all of the things that I've been able to do at Pantone. And there's all other things that I've been able to do at other places as well, but this has been the most visible and most exciting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I gotta imagine growing up in the Philippines, how integral the ocean is into just your daily life.
I will plug the Philippine beaches if you need to find a beautiful
Yes,
beach. It's almost like a sin, but it's so beautiful and it's so inexpensive.
hmm.
I can live there if I want. If I love the heat and humidity, I would live there because I can't
Right.
stand it. That's why I'm here in Northeast.
That's very fair. I got to be very honest with you. I don't know. I have a ton of clients in Atlanta, and if they ask me to go down there past like April, I'm like, you guys, I can't. I'm sorry. So I don't know if
Yeah.
I could do island living either.
It depends on where you go as well. It's always fun to, if you do island living,
Hmm.
go to certain places where the beach is right out there and you have an air conditioned hotel or house. Because that's what I did. Basically, when I was living in Manila, I had the air conditioner on all the time. If I were going to go anywhere, I would be working remotely. I'd be working in a mall that's air conditioned. I will always find the coldest place in the mall or at home to work. I can't do
My
that.
gosh, I love it. Okay, so talk to me through a little bit more because one of, again, like the things that I am most intensely like fascinated by is what I kind of call like the B players. This is what I would like consider myself as well. So the people that are behind things that we love, but you don't know. I think you're such a perfect example of that. Like, so I don't know that I realized that you were so integral in like the color of the year and really like all these like brand colors. So talk me through what that process even looks like. Does Tiffany come to you and say, "Hey, we want to make this our own. We want to have our own actual color," or what is that?
That's a whole thing. That's a whole Pantone service when you
Okay.
think about it. So Pantone is all about color. We talk about color. We do color trend forecasting. We do brand identity color. We do the color of the year, of course. We do color standards. So to walk you through the whole thing, brand comes to us, number one, to first ask us, we have this brand color that we like, and we can't standardize it anywhere. And sometimes it exists in our existing color library, but sometimes it doesn't because they picked it from the RGB spectrum, which is infinite. So we
Yeah.
have to look at that color, define it. We have a team of color, global experts of color, and they look at the color, they define it, they match it with the personality of the brand that we have to work with. And that service can go down the line to, okay, this is your brand color and this is your brand palette. So when you design your website, you work with these palettes based off of your personality. So that goes to that. And then if they want to develop products down the line, we also forecast like, okay, if you're doing business to consumer products that will be marketed, say in Target or whatever, we can forecast maybe up to 5 years in advance to give your development team enough time to develop the product in that color to sell for the next 5-10 years. So we're able to do that as well. And then since we're doing that, we also have the recommendations for the guides. Hey, this is, you have 4 different substrates that you're using in your promotional materials. There's digital, there's print on paper with coating, print on paper without coating. You are doing t-shirts, you are doing banners, you are doing plastic and metal stuff. So all of your different mediums, we have a guide for each of those. And what we have to do is like come up with the specific colors that people have to match in those substrates. So everything is consistent. And I always tell people this, like, if you see Coca-Cola somewhere, right, and it's pinkish in hue, will you buy it? No,
It's going to look
because
like a knockoff.
yeah, it looks like a knockoff and you don't trust the quality of it. And that's why Coke has been a client of Pantone for the longest time for color standards. The same way with Tiffany. If you see a Tiffany blue box, if someone gives you a Tiffany box, but the color is off, you won't believe that it's real. So you
Yeah.
think it's a knockoff. So and I'm such a Pantone nerd. I'm sorry.
No, listen, I live for this stuff.
Yeah,
I work with it mostly like in like Illustrator, but I also have used like the textiles, and again, like color matching, like making sure that that brand, authenticity is there, I
yeah,
think is such an
yeah,
important thing, and the
yeah,
cohesiveness. So
yeah.
keep going.
Yeah. And then we talk about the language of color as well. So once we develop the palettes for you and your graphic designers develop like a palette for a campaign, you can go digital, use Pantone Connect,
Mm.
and you come up with the palettes. You can even be inspired. And this is something that a lot of people have not seen. We have an app called Pantone Connect. You can take a picture, extract the colors from that picture, come up with a palette based off of that. And now we're also beta testing a palette generator. You basically tell the system based off of the trend articles that we've published in the past maybe 20, 30 years, it'll pull out a palette for you based on what you need. And then we
Gosh.
also provide like trend content, like Fashion Color Trend Report. We have that. We have the home and interior palettes that are trending for the coming year. We also have that. We have trend books that you can rely on. And then we also do partnerships and co-marketing where we come up with a campaign that features the partnership between Pantone and another brand. Some of the more recent exciting ones were with Tony's Chocolonely, with the Golden State Warriors, with
Yeah.
Allbirds. I think one of the most fun ones I had playing around with was, I don't know if you know the artist Fade. He also goes by Fercho. He's a Latin American and he's
Mm.
super known for the green that he has. And we had a partnership with them and that got millions, like one animated video. It wasn't even animated. There was just a background. There was just, and that got
Yeah.
millions and millions of views on social media
Oh my gosh.
because it was so popular. So many different brands were trying to imitate it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, no, you can't because that you can't do that because that's our intellectual property. So you have to take it down. I'm sorry.
Right.
If you want a partnership, then you want to use our intellectual property, then you have to work with us to get
As
that
I
done.
say, then you have to talk to Alvin.
And I review everything for brand guidelines pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
If it Our Pantone chip is one of our most iconic brand icons. That does not sound right, but
Like brand
most,
assets.
yeah, brand asset. So
Yeah.
it's just the most iconic, and it has a certain look and feel that has to be, it has to fit, and it can't be
Yeah.
just plastered everywhere. I have to make sure that they follow the guidelines that we've set for them. We allow some creative interpretations of it, but it still has to fall within a specific set of guidelines. So all of that I've been reviewing for the past couple of years, which is fun. I get to see
Yeah.
things before they come out. It's just another exciting thing that I'm doing. And
Yeah.
just seeing it out there, and we work with our PR team. Sometimes I draft the article, so I think we lost our way at some point, but still,
No,
it's
I
Pantone has,
listen,
yeah,
I love this.
yeah, but Pantone has everything in color in terms of trend forecasting, the physical products that you want to do. You can also partner with us when you want to do licensing of certain products. Like, I think this is one of the most fun ones.
Oh, we have examples. Okay, let's see.
We partnered with
Oh,
Play-Doh for Color of the Year. I haven't
stop
opened this
it.
box yet because this is limited edition. I'm so tempted to
You
bring, because I
can't.
love Play-Doh. I love to
I do
play
too.
with the clay, but I don't want to take it out of the box.
No, you need to go to Target and buy yourself
Yes,
just a
I'm
dollar
planning to
version.
buy a couple of tubs just to
Yes.
play again.
So
But
your fidget. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing I like. I'm also ordering couches from one of our partners, Joybird, because I'm renovating. So
Oh
Joybird
my
is super
gosh.
cool. And then I have the Pura
Yes.
diffuser. I'm planning to stock up on the 2020, the Cloud Dancer scent, because it
Yeah.
smells so good, and I'm gonna stock up
My
on it.
gosh. I didn't
A
even
lot
know that
of,
you guys
yeah,
released a scent. I don't think that that one has come across my radar.
we've been, and this is the most exciting thing, because the partnerships part of what we do is something
Hmm.
so new, and it's constantly evolving. So now
Yeah.
we have partners. So Pura is our partner for scent.
Okay.
So you can smell the color of the year. We
Yeah.
have, so Play-Doh is kind of has been our partner for Cloud Dancer, which is Color of the Year 2026. So you can touch it. Same with
Right.
Joybird. You can touch the furniture, the different textiles that they use, the chenille.
Hmm.
It was amazing feeling the texture, as it felt so
Yes.
real. There's also, we partnered with Mandarin Oriental. They did a global campaign for Cloud Dancer, and one of the things that resonated with me the most was the cloud cake that they had at Mandarin Oriental in Tokyo.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
dying when I saw the picture. We're going to Tokyo, so I'm going to take a trip to Mandarin Oriental just to, on vacation. I want to go there to taste the cloud cake,
Yes.
and experience it's experiencing the colors in real life with all your five senses. So you see it, you feel it, you taste it, you hear it. We have a partnership with Spotify for Color of the Year. So if you search Spotify Pantone Color of the
Yeah.
Year, it has like a playlist that you, and it is customized to you based off of what you listen to.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
I have
something
to go look.
interesting.
Listen. No, I didn't realize, like so much of the world that I live in is like experiential marketing and even like retail. And I cannot tell you like every single conversation is about how we're touching all five senses. When somebody walks into the store, how are they feeling? So I love that you guys are approaching. Obviously, I think the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Pantone is the visual, the colors, but to understand all these different touch points across all the senses that you guys are approaching is so exciting.
It is. I personally am so happy that I've been involved in all of this, particularly with Color of
Yeah.
the Year. That's where we started the whole sensory experience of it. I remember a couple of years back, we partnered with Art Tech House. They are like an immersive space.
Okay.
Pretty much it's 360. They're projecting everything around you, Color of the Year stuff. And it's so immersive.
Yes.
Like you just sit there and just absorb everything. You're like within within the space of color, and it was so beautiful.
Oh my gosh. It sounds almost like meditative, like almost like being in like a 360 like sound bath. Like you're saying like there's the visuals that are going with it. That's so fantastic.
It is. So I've been very fortunate to be able to be part of all of this and experience all of
Mhm.
it. I wish I could share it with the rest of the world, and hopefully we can. Yeah,
Yeah.
like definitely having the 360 of Pantone, where I just have to get people to understand that color is something that you don't only see, but you also taste, see, and feel. You also hear it, especially with people with synesthesia. And it's something that defines your brand. You'd be surprised. Like people, when they see colors, they all automatically see a brand. Like what do you think of when you see this blue? What do you think of when you see this red? So for example, Tiffany and
Yeah.
Company, the moment you see that blue, you know that's them. So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like you said, the Coca-Cola red, the Home Depot orange. Like when you really start thinking through, there's so many colors that are just, they trigger that. And the amount of time and effort that people have spent on getting that particular color to trigger that in your head is so immense. I don't even think we can comprehend. But I think that bringing the Pantone side into it is really interesting. This is like where it kind of feels like the creative and logic for me, because I think that like we see these colors, but you don't understand, like you were saying, parsing out, well, if we print this on metal, if we print this on t-shirts, like keeping that consistent across so many different objects and digital and physical has to be such a feat.
Well, yeah. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more Pantone information. We have a team of visual color experts where they
Mm-hmm.
analyze colors visually and study it and say, okay, the color that you have is 90% close to the color that you want to achieve, but it's a little bit yellow. And I don't understand how they know it's a little bit yellow,
Yeah.
but that's their expertise. I won't deny them. They've been doing it for years and they take a test every year to validate their skills in colors. We also have a team that we sell pretty much validation of your color. So some of the tech companies have come to us for color validation. There's two things. There's Pantone validated and Pantone calibrated. So Pantone calibrated is when the inks, printer inks are calibrated so that it consistently prints out the correct color. And then Pantone validated is for your monitors. We've had a couple of different companies that come to us already. I think ViewSonic is one of them. They're the they they their colors that appear on screen are validated, and they've gone as far as skin tone validated, so all the skin tones that you see on screen are as close to real as possible. So
Yeah.
that's another part of the whole Pantone service and family. And then we also do product licensing. So if you wanted to, I mean, you've seen the mugs that
Oh,
are
yeah.
everywhere,
Yes.
so they're iconic.
Yep.
We have people partnering with us to put their logos on the mugs and kind of co-brand with us. That's something we do also. You can co-brand with Pantone with almost anything that you produce, but we stay away
Wow.
from certain products that are
Well,
not.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's got to be within the brand guidelines and I'm
yeah,
sure wholesomeness and like all that good stuff.
yes. Can't promote a vice.
Yes. Okay, you know what? I feel like when you're talking about the color validators, I feel like they're just like color wizards. I feel like you have like
They
this lady
are.
like sitting in front of like a crystal ball being like too much yellow. Like
I would say it's pretty much close to it. They're experts. I love that team. They've been doing it. I I wish I had that skill that they have. And I mean,
yes.
they do. They also have the so they can see it physically, but we also use tools that our sister company Xrite has that they produce. They call it the color spectrophotometer. So they scan and they look
Yeah.
at the colors that are in the material based off of like the reflectiveness of it and all of that. So super amazing tools that Pantone has provided with Xrite as well.
Okay. Well, that was a total sidebar, but I'm so happy that we went down that route. I feel like I don't know. I didn't I guess initially realize that it was that in depth. I know that obviously what you guys do for color and all that, but I think understanding a little bit more turnkey, like all the processes and offerings and the five senses, like that's so fascinating and not always like forefront. So
Yeah,
that's really
yeah,
interesting.
we're getting there. We're getting there.
You're like, yeah, we're on the banding team. We're
Yeah.
making it all come together.
Our
I love.
marketing team is ramping up a lot of things coming up. So it's a lot of education that we're going into.
Yeah.
And I think it's also being able to reach out to other designers because we recently launched the capsule, the Pantone capsule. So it's a
No,
trimmed
I've
down
seen
version
that.
of the yeah. It just launched like maybe a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It's like a smaller version of the formula guide, but
Mm-hmm.
it's more affordable. So for people who
Right.
are just starting out, it's more affordable. Although eventually, if you want to grow in the design business, then definitely you should. I recommend that you get the full packet of
Yeah.
colors.
No, absolutely. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I haven't bought one of the like physical swatch books in probably like 5 years. Don't tell them, Alvin. But I use predominantly, like I said, the app, but then
Yep.
the Illustrator,
Yep.
which we split up. I won't even yell at you about that. I don't know what happened between Adobe. We don't have to talk about it. The VR people will kill us. But now I have to have it separate. And so that was a whole learning curve, but we're beyond that now.
I can give you tips on how to connect the colors.
You're so wonderful. See, this is what I really actually, at the basis of it, I wanted to have this conversation so I could just have tech backup at Pantone. So thank you for
Of
being on
course.
board.
Of course.
My gosh. Okay, well, as we're kind of talking through, just loop it back in because I just have like a few more questions I want to talk about. But in this position, is there anybody in particular or even just like places, products, like anything that you specifically look to for inspiration?
I think you find inspiration where you want to find it. I try to find inspiration. I am inspired by my manager, Kim. I look up to her because she's brilliant. Hands down, brilliantly. The way her mind works, I love it. I'm inspired by how our sales team and our sales VPs do what they do because I can't do what they do. Like what I sit there, sometimes I sit there during client calls and like, these people are amazing. I'm just dumbfounded like how they're able to kind of do all of that. I'm inspired by like the color team. I'm inspired by our operations team, how they've been able to turn things around. I guess it's so hard because I feel inspired by different things every day and it just keeps me going and going and going. I think throughout the years, you learn to switch your mindset to something that's more positive rather than having things pull you down. Then you find something that you are thankful for or grateful for every day. You find things that you look at and get inspired by. You find people that have skills that you admire and you think that you want to get at some point. It's just everywhere you look. It's positivity. It's just getting there and um, learning from each person that comes your way and picking the best things that they have and applying it to your life. Then your life just becomes better every day.
Yeah. That's so funny. The way you explain it, it feels almost just like everything in your life. It's like very similar to the process of working with clients. Like you're weeding out like what's important to hear to bring over to here. And so, and then even like when we're talking about like saying yes to things and like learning from every instance, like it all kind of feels like it's wrapped up in that mindset.
That's a great way of putting it. Like I didn't even think about it that way, but I guess that's how I've been living my life. Like just saying yes, taking inspiration from everything, and just going through every day trying to be happier.
Yeah. I love that. I think especially in this day and age, it's maybe not always such like a popular opinion to be just an eternal optimist, but I feel like I try and be that way as well because it's we really only get, I mean this is so cliche, but you get one life. So it's like let's take everything that we can out of this experience.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we have to be eternally optimistic, but also cautiously optimistic. In a
We have to
way,
be realistic,
yeah, you have to be
We
realistic.
got to
Like
be rooted in reality.
yes, but yeah, it helps if you. I think it helps if you're optimistic because being the positive ray of light in your office space with your community helps also with that communication. You come across as more open to listening to things. You come across as friendly and helpful and not someone who will impede anyone from what they're going to do. And you're able to communicate better with people. I think that that is key as well. You have to learn what people relate to and react to. I think that's very important, and that whole process kind of helped me understand what clients want more, and kind of pull the information from them. And even if you end up working with people who are not the easiest people to work with, shifting your perspective and trying to understand how to best communicate to them will net you 100% the best results ever.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that unfortunately we don't always have, clients that are 10 out of 10, easy to work with, easy to communicate with. But I think that I definitely have learned some of my biggest lessons from some of my most difficult clients. I mean, lucky enough, a lot of the really difficult clients that I've had have been just insanely brilliant in their own right. But I think really smart people are a lot of times a little bit crazy and a little
Yes.
bit difficult to deal with. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
so
think
being able to
yeah.
stick through that.
I think I would rather deal with that type of client who are brilliant and are a little bit challenging rather than some clients who it's like pulling teeth from them when you're trying. It's like I emailed you 4 different times following up and confirming every single thing, yet you still come back to me with nothing. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. But the thing is like you still have to keep smiling because you're offering a service,
Yes.
and that smile nets you 100% every in a meeting. When you're smiling, even if it's challenging, it changes the dynamic. It doesn't make it tense. It makes it more communicative, more open, and you're able to extract a little bit more. So even if the client is very difficult,
Yes.
it's like pulling teeth. But once you get them in the meeting, then you're able to take a lot of that information and then just roll with it down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't think that having discourse or, smiling is great. We smile and then we get off and God bless. I thank goodness I do a lot of email communication. So you get to like give your brain that you read the email, you're like, oh my God, what is wrong? And then you respond, thank you so much for getting back to
Yes.
me. And so you get to have that.
You need that real time filter as well. So like you filter your emails and you kind of have
Yeah,
to have that real time filter, which is, and that's why I'm
yes.
saying like some of the sales team people that I've been working with are amazing. They know how to turn things around. They're brilliant. They know how to sell the product without overcommitting. And I'm like,
Yes.
I wouldn't have said it that way. That's amazing.
Yes. No, I am really enamored by salespeople because they're in a whole league of their own.
Yeah. Like I can like to me, I've tried sales before. I can sell things to you, but it takes so much energy and I don't know how they can do it.
I think they're really highly caffeinated. I think they all drink a
Could
lot of
be,
coffee. And
could be.
you know what? I'm here for it. I don't even
Yeah.
blame you. Okay, so we have reached the point in the interview where I get to ask you the question that I ask every single person that I interview. What is the wildest story that you can tell me on this
Oh,
interview?
wow. This was way back when I was doing events and I said yes to a
Okay.
wedding.
Oh boy. I haven't gotten a wedding story yet, but I know this is going
Yeah.
to be good.
It was it. So the craziest thing was I was working super hard and I was super stressed because I had the mother of the bridezilla.
Oh my gosh.
And the night before the wedding, literally like I think 11 p.m., she calls me and starts rearranging people.
Oh no.
And this
Okay.
person can't be here, this person can't be there, blah, 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 blah. So I think my tensions were like super high that I pretty much almost died. And that's the wildest thing. I woke
My
up in the middle of the
gosh.
night, like in so much pain. I think it was like bad acid reflux. Just moving my finger, like literally moving, bending my index finger caused pain to radiate all throughout my body. And then I passed out. The next thing I knew, I was in the bathroom with a huge concussion, like the size of a tennis ball on my forehead. And I had to call my friend and say, I need you to take over the wedding because
I
I'm
just had a
practically
heart
dead.
attack
Yeah.
and like,
And
yeah.
I went to the hospital and then they did x-rays and stuff. I had a busted lip, fractured rib, concussion. So I pretty much almost died for work. And after that, I
Oh
learned my
my God.
lesson. I'm like never taking high. I'm not going to put myself in a high stress situation like that anymore. When I set boundaries and everything, that was the wildest thing. Like you almost died because of a wedding.
That's just a, brush with death, just a near death experience to put things into perspective. Pretty casual.
Yeah, but
Oh
that
my
I guess
God.
that's pretty wild.
That's very wild. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad that you are out of the wedding industry. I'm glad that you're in your, self-proclaimed dream job. It feels like things are definitely less stressful these
yeah,
days.
they are.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Alvin, I want to thank you so much for taking time with me. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I wanted to give you a minute to plug yourself. If you want to give anybody, I don't know if you have like a website or social media, or if you want people to find you on LinkedIn, this is your moment to
Yeah,
do so.
find me on LinkedIn, Alvin Chingcuanco. I am very happy to connect with people. I am not promoting anything, but if you're interested in Pantone, reach out. I'll connect you to the right people. If you need project management or creative project management advice, reach out. I'm happy to always help out. I had an interesting conversation yesterday with an agency owner, and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking to outsource." I'm like, "Oh, well, I still know some people in the Philippines who are looking for creative work. I can connect you." So just reach out. I'm a friendly guy, and I'm super happy to help other people as well.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you, Alvin.
Thank you, Chloe. Bye.